Welcome to Lord Beer Me Strength.
This is the podcast where we ask God to beer us some strength.
And then we use that strength to pray without ceasing, talk about beer, and digest the issues.
Also, sometimes we quote The Office.
For your edification and our enjoyment.
Because we have freedom in Christ.
You're Lisa.
And you're Marge.
Now
Lord, beer us strength.
Well, Lisa.
Yes, Marge.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Did you sleep okay?
No, that's
No?
okay.
Sorry.
Our snack's helping this morning, so.
Yeah. What do we have for snack today?
We have the beautiful trolley. It is from,
Trolley?
You gotta stop.
Sour Bright Crawlers.
Yeah, from the state of Pennsylvania.
Is that where they're made?
Sure.
It says product of Mexico on the back.
Yeah, that's what
State of Mexico.
the state of Mexico. It's been fermenting for about 100 years.
Mm.
And
Now it's right.
I think they're quite tasty.
They are good. So we have these today
Mm-hmm.
on account of not wanting to have beer, right?
Right.
Because
I'm pregnant.
oh, congratulations, George!
No, because we have a guest today.
We actually have our first guest.
Yay!
Yay! And she's a little cutie and underage. And
She's
so can't offer her a beer. So we're going to eat the gummy worms instead. So Marge, who's our guest here today?
So, let me be the first to welcome Ruthie Harman. Hello, welcome.
Yay! Welcome, Ruthie. Thank you for joining us.
I bow.
Yeah. So how are you doing, Ruthie?
Well, this is weird.
Yeah,
I mean,
we're going to talk to you.
Ruthie, I've known you for quite a while, and I think, Lisa, you've actually known her a bit longer.
A little bit longer.
So how do you know each other?
I knew her because she grew in my womb
Oh,
and then emerged.
that's awkward.
And here she stands.
I'm sitting, actually. This is sitting. This is
This is-
standing.
No, we quote The Office here, not Veggie Tales, okay?
You grew me on Veggie Tales.
Did you not
first,
listen
okay?
to the intro?
I did.
You can quote The Office probably better than we can.
Fight.
No, I can't. I would love to.
So yeah, if you can just stick to Office quotes from now on, that'd be great.
Yeah.
I really want to say a whole bunch of more quotes that
yeah,
are not Office.
that are not The Office. Well, save it. Save it for later. Because we have a very important topic to discuss with you today. Yeah. We actually mentioned it last week on the podcast.
Uh-huh.
And then we had the great idea to actually just bring you on.
Because
Since
I
you're
told you to.
you're fresh from camp this week, right?
Yes.
When did you come back from camp?
Last week.
It was 1 week ago today, wasn't it?
It was 1 week ago.
Yeah, what camp was that you went to?
Whatever the one that Livestream hosts, like Somo Youth Camp down in the Lake of the Ozark. I have no idea.
What does SOMO stand for?
You know, I wish I knew.
I believe it stands for Southern Missouri. And I know this because I too went to that camp.
Yeah, you just didn't
Back
have
in
as
the
much
day.
fun as me.
I did not have as much fun, and that's okay because you did have fun, and I live vicariously through you.
Yeah, you did.
So, yes, we will talk about that. I think Marge and I have a little bit of camp experience that we can also speak to.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, we just wanted to hear, like, what your week was like, how it went down, what you learned, how many kids got saved,
Oh, gosh.
you know, how many times did you change the world over the course of the week? That'd be great. No, I'm just kidding. We'll start with actual questions.
I was gonna say, I only know the answer to none of those.
Okay, fair enough.
Well, thanks for joining us.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I have a lot of questions. Do you have some questions, Marge?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. First of all, how dare you?
Respect. Nicely done.
Living up to
I knew you'd catch them.
standards.
Yeah, I knew you'd be ready. All right.
I feel like we should be taking tallies to see
We should.
who
Who
gets
can-
the most.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it'll be her.
But then it'll just be a competition. And as I will talk about with camp, I don't like competition.
Okay. Why don't you like competition?
But because short people start screaming in my ear, and then it's like, stop.
Short people.
Short people. There's this one girl in our youth group, and she's like a year older than me, but she's shorter than me somehow. And I love her, but she gets so competitive. Like, we're playing this one game where we have a giant beach ball, but we're playing volleyball. So one team pushes it to us, and then Little Short starts screaming at us to spread out, but then everybody is grouped together because we're gonna get crushed if we spread out. So we gotta all push it at the same time, and she's just like, get away from me! And it's just,
I understand.
it's a lot all at once.
Uh-huh.
Short
Yeah.
people, giant
Yeah.
volleyballs, but it's not a volleyball.
You don't like doing pointless things.
I don't.
Yeah. I don't think that's wrong. I think that's good.
And that's all sports is, really.
Amen.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so you go to camp. You're there Monday through Friday.
Yes.
So, what's the vibe at camp? Like, where are you staying? What are you doing? Is it busy? Are you...
Alright, I don't get the vibe thing, but... So, rephrase the question.
Okay,
I don't
so, like,
understand.
you go to camp, and, like, do you room with someone?
Oh, yeah. So, there are, I think... I don't know how many dorms there are, but every youth group is separated into 2 teams. And there's always the girl team and the boy team. But then...
Because no touching.
No purpling. That's the rule.
Wait, what?
Purpling.
Purpling.
That's a verb now?
Yeah.
Do we want to know what that means?
Yeah. So girls are pink, boys are blue, don't touch, or you're purple. But there's also hot pinking.
Because colors,
and,
Lisa. That's
Yeah.
Colors,
Uh-huh.
right?
That's
That's
how
how they
colors work.
I get
obviously.
Okay.
And then no hot bluing. I don't know. Dark bluing. I don't care.
Uh-huh.
I've never had to do that.
Is this the counselors using these phrases?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And then
I've
we all
never
make
heard that
fun of
before.
it halfway through.
Yeah.
Like on the bus ride, all of the girls are like, "Oh no, hot pinking," and touching each other's faces.
This is new since I was at camp. These are new terms to me.
Yeah, these are new for me, too.
Okay.
It's
Getting
called
caught up.
PDA when I went. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, we like to make everything not normal
Mm-hmm.
because that's how we are.
That's Gen Z, very much so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you gotta come up with the weird terms for everything.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, you know, we use beer as a verb
Uh-huh.
for the name of our podcast.
Yes,
Yeah,
but that
so
makes perfect
why
sense.
are you even trying?
It does to me, you know, but
Don't
I'm old.
discriminate.
I'm just trying to keep up, so I'm listening.
I am too.
Okay.
Trust me. Anyway, so this year the girls were on the pink team, and we were with a whole bunch of other boys from another youth group. I don't know. One of them had a mullet, and it scared me.
Whoa.
And
Okay,
then-
so
I'm so
hold on.
sorry.
I'm trying to clarify. So boys are gosh dang it.
yeah, I know this is confusing.
You've already messed me up.
I've said a lot
this
of bad
early in the
things.
morning. No, I'm just trying to make sure. So within your church youth group that all travels down to camp together.
Okay, yeah. So
The-
let me clarify. We go as a youth group. We have live stream church, and then we go to the campsite, and there's like at least 5, maybe 9 other. No, there's 11 other youth groups there, I think, and they're all separated into 2 different parts: the boys and the girls, and then all of the boys and girls are mixed up to then become like orange team, pink team, blue team, green team, and that's our team. But then at the night we all separate back into our youth group.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a whole bunch of teaming up.
Is it like an age thing?
No.
Okay.
Just
Just a
gender.
random mix and match
Yeah.
of boys and girls from different churches.
Yes.
Got it.
How did they do it when you were in camp?
I do not remember doing that. I don't remember necessarily having teams. I could be wrong, but I thought it was just more of a...
Was it more of like a 4-house situation with different colors?
No,
Based on
I
your
would have to ask my
personality?
sister because I don't remember being sorted or anything in any
Okay.
sort of way. I just thought we kind of stayed with our individual churches for the most part
Mm-hmm.
until we did like whole group things, like with the whole camp or whatever. I don't know.
Mhm.
That's a good question. Maybe there's more kids going now than there
Oh,
were
there's a
back in
whole
the day.
crap load of kids.
Well, I mean, there was back in my day too, but maybe it's just a bigger crapload of kids.
At camp, what went right and what went wrong?
What went right is that we, like, as a youth group, we all really connected more than we ever had before. And a lot of people, I don't know, a lot of people were saved, obviously, but it was different from the other years, I feel like. Because at the end of, we didn't, like, have the big hype day on Thursday night whenever it's the last day or something. It was like all throughout the week.
Mm.
And every day we were like, oh my gosh, I'm so thankful for all of you. and we actually meant it, if that makes sense.
What was different?
I think a lot of us were really searching for something good. Like, we wanted something good to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I was just excited to go with my friends and have a good time at camp. But there was also a lot of stuff going on in my personal life that I knew God was going to work on at camp. So I got to camp, and the first night there, it was like a personal attack on my soul. And it was a good thing. I cried a bunch, and I prayed a bunch, and I opened up a lot. But I thought I was going to be the only one, which was a stupid thought. But as more of the week went on, a lot of other people were going through a transformation and really delving into the Word farther than I've ever seen before.
That's awesome.
It was.
Yeah. So you just felt like the Spirit moving?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's really cool.
Yes.
And you've not, or have you experienced that in past years?
We all agreed, like, we felt a hint of that before, but this year it was like full force feeling of God, like fully letting go of everything that we know we don't need and don't want.
What do you suppose is different this year from previous years?
Just our willingness to listen this year. Because there were a lot of kids that really were going through horrible situations. So I think they were really, really searching for a reason to not give up. And we found it.
That's cool.
God gave it to us.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So why did you personally want to go to camp this year?
There's a lot of reasons. But my friends, mainly. And as the week before camp came up, I just really wanted to feel God again. But mainly friends. Because that's what it always is. Like, the memories that my friends make.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's huge.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's cool. Like Marge said, then what do you feel like did not go well as far as your week at camp is concerned?
Nothing really bad went down. Like, the games, we always have games with the other teams. Like, the girls will go play games while the boys go swim, and then
you
we'll
switch up? Yeah.
Well, first we have free time, then we switch up.
Okay.
So, the team games with the other girls was just really competitive, and there's a lot of cheating.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Well, yeah, there's cheating. Like, we were playing one game where you all link up arms. It goes one team girl, and then a girl from another team, and then just alternate girls.
Uh-huh.
And so we were all holding onto each other's hands or wrists and trying to fling each other at this trash can in the middle.
That sounds awful.
It's my favorite game. It's my favorite. But we were against the Green Girls, which just happened to be our boys team as well. And we're all like, okay, we can be friends with you because you're our boys.
Right.
Boys, girls.
Alliance.
Alliance, yeah. So I was seated next to two really great girls, and they both helped me out. Like, they're like, we're not going to let go of your arms, because if you let go, then you're out. Don't want that. But then my one friend was stuck between two girls who let go of her arms intentionally, and so they were out because my one friend she cannot be moved. She's very good at standing her ground. So they knew she couldn't be moved, and they let go of her hands. She was out. And just a lot of intentional hand letting go, which was annoying because we just really wanted to win. We were not doing well in that day of games.
That is unfortunate.
Mm-hmm. Well, if that's the worst thing that happened at camp, that's pretty good.
Oh, well, one of our guys broke his thumb. Not broke his thumb, but we don't know what happened to his thumb. All we know is, like, he showed up with a green cast around his thumb. Mm-hmm. We're like, what happened? It's like,
I got really good at gardening.
No, he was surfing down the water slide, and then I guess he fell.
I don't know how you could hurt yourself surfing down a water slide. That is a mystery to me.
That water slide is like a death machine, because every year somebody gets hurt. Last year we had a girl, like, what was it? She got a concussion or something from the water slide.
Dang.
The year before that, I think somebody broke his arm on the water slide.
You gotta put ketchup and mustard on it.
Did you guys do that at your camp?
No. Yeah, we did.
Did you?
Yeah.
Man, we did not do anything fun like that at my camp that I recall. Although, if it did happen, I probably would not have participated because I was a stick in the mud.
Mm-hmm.
And so I probably wouldn't even know. I don't remember seeing such things, but who knows. So generally a good week then, you're saying?
Yeah.
You had a good week of getting closer to God and watching your friends get closer to God.
And break their thumbs.
And break their thumbs, right. So describe an average day
Average
during
day.
camp. Yeah.
Alright, so we wake up, our one dorm leader will come around and do CPR to anybody who's not awake.
CPR, huh?
Mouth to mouth.
Like,
I don't remember.
really?
Wait, what?
What?
Not mouth to mouth.
I see things have changed since I was in camp.
And the dorm leader's really close to all of us. We don't mind. We wake up so then this doesn't happen to us, but
Wait, are you serious?
yeah. She comes up and she's like, alright, I'm gonna start CPR now. And then she'll put her hands on your chest and they're like, no!
Okay, so not mouth to mouth. Hands to chest,
Yeah.
maybe.
Huh.
Chest compressions.
Mhm.
She doesn't actually tilt your head back and breathe into your lungs.
No.
But, okay.
I'm pretty sure she'll...
Because I was
would've done
about to
that.
not sign you up for next year.
No. She's a really great... No, I'm making her sound like a horrible human, but she's really nice.
I didn't think that's what you could be talking about. I just wanted to clarify for our listeners
Yeah, for
Yeah,
the listeners
for the
who
listeners.
don't understand.
who might be confused. Yeah, that's good. Thank you for clarifying that. Okay, so after the chest compressions,
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
then what happens?
Then we all get ready to go. Then we have breakfast. Then we go and have devotion time. We'll go to the chapel and we'll have devotions. Then we'll go outside and actually have the devotion. Then we'll go into the gym and get together with our team. And us girls this year were on pink team, so we would sit underneath the pink flag and we would play games for about an hour. Those are the most competitive games because it's with the girls and the boys. So we had like super tall guys this year. And they were really nice actually, and they did their best with us. But it was still really loud. I didn't appreciate that.
It's hard on you, I know.
But I actually did a lot better this year with the team games. I didn't cry during the team games.
That's good.
Which
Progress.
is a new thing.
Yeah.
Progress.
It's been 3 years.
Nice.
But then after that we'll go back to chapel and we'll have about an hour of goofing around. I think there was a message during that time. I honestly can't remember
Because you were goofing around.
because we were goofing around. There's a lot of dancing that occurs during that time. And then we go and have lunch.
That's how you know you're not at a Baptist church camp.
Oh, yeah.
All the dancing.
Yeah, that was new to me.
Okay.
But yeah, then we go have lunch, and everybody complains, I just had breakfast, I don't need lunch. And we're like, shut up and eat. And then we go back to the chapel.
Boot camp.
We go back to the chapel, and we have another devotion. But this time it's a serious devotion. You gotta listen to this one.
So the first one is not. The first one is a lighthearted devotion, more like just a quick story or something.
The one that we have at
No redeeming
after
value.
breakfast is with our youth group. So we'll go outside and talk about what we learned from last night or what we plan on learning the night to come. And then the one between lunch and breakfast is like game time for all of the youth as the adults go and have a meeting. And then the one after lunch, we just have to sit there and listen.
Okay.
I'm making this sound so boring.
Yeah, you are. Man, that sounds awful. I'm so glad I don't have to go to camp anymore. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I don't know how to do stories, man.
No,
We don't either.
I'm capturing a vision
At least I don't.
of your week.
You do great.
So you have a devotion after lunch.
Yeah.
Okay.
We fall asleep during that one.
What kinds of things do they talk about during the devotion? Is this like life application things? Do they tell you wear your purity ring? That
No.
kind of stuff? No?
No, we do not do that.
Okay.
Because there's like,
That's what we talked about.
there's
when
couples
I was
all over the place, not purpling, making sure not to touch, but they're staring
Okay.
deeply into each other's eyes.
See, I was going to ask that. I was going to ask if there was much boy-girl interaction at your camp.
Well,
Did they interact, but from a safe pink and blue distance
Yeah.
for the most part.
Because, I mean, there's always those kids who have their camp girlfriend or boyfriend, and
Yes.
they'll go find them. We had that sort of thing going on. And then at the end of the night, we have mail time. And that's when all the love notes come out.
Oh, gross.
And usually our youth group will come, like, my best friend will write all of these cute little notes for us. And then it'll be like, just the guy in front will throw them at us. You're like, just take it and run. But this year, he went up there with these piles of love notes. Not even sarcastic ones, just actual love notes. And he's like, guys, you can't write this at youth camp.
Oh, no. Like, what kinds of things were in these notes?
We don't know because he wouldn't let us read
These
them.
were sexy love notes?
I guess so.
Oh, no.
I really wanted to know what was in there.
I'm curious now, too.
But, yeah, I think they, threw a few of them away.
Okay. So they read your mail first, is that what you're saying?
They read your mail to you. Unless it's in an envelope. If they throw the envelope at you if
it's from your parents or something?
Yeah, they don't tear up envelopes. But the camp
Good,
notes...
because that'd be illegal.
It would be.
Yeah.
The camp notes that some kids give are just pieces of paper.
Okay.
And then it'll say, read this! This is funny! Haha. No, actual lovey-dovey stuff goes on at camp, from what I know.
Darn.
What?
I'm okay with it.
Yeah, you're not
Fascinating.
the only one who experienced that kind of thing.
What do
I
you
think that's just a lot of that age, but it's camp specifically because you're away from your parents and stuff.
Oh, yeah, and all the emotions get kind of heightened
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
during that time.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's very much I think it's interesting with camp because you don't have any other distractions. I don't know, did they allow you to have your phone?
No, they take your phone.
Yeah, they did ours too. And so there's no distraction. It's just you being there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think with the worship time and the constant lecturing and the constant talking about Jesus and praying and reading scripture and everything, it's it's really easy to boom, you're at a spiritual high, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that's great. I know that's a whole other conversation of coming off of a spiritual high and is that bad? And no, it's just a time in your life that is kind of important, you know?
Yeah. I'm really starting to dislike the term spiritual high or camp hype or something like that. Because, yeah, you experience it, and yes, it's a thing, and I understand that. But this year, it's a lot different. The youth group that I went with, we started a Bible plan together, and we'll do it every morning, and we'll talk about what we learned from camp. And we're really trying to encourage each other to actually feel what God's trying to tell us through the camp hype or whatever crap that is. And so we're trying to actually learn something from camp this year instead of letting the camp hype write us out until December or September or something.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a mini rant for you. You're welcome.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Cost 50 cents.
I mean, just the people that are warning you about, coming down from the camp high are just...
They're trying to help me, and I understand.
Prepare you, because it does end eventually.
It does end.
And, speaking as someone who's been there multiple times, you can feel you're doing something wrong if you're not feeling it anymore,
Mm-hmm.
And you can feel desperate to get that back. But it's really, that's not the point, And so that's what we're trying to prepare you for. But, I get being defensive about it a little bit because that's where you're at right now. And that's fine, Don't let anybody try to take you down from there,
Well, sorry, go ahead.
No, that's about it. That's all I had. Yeah.
Well, I think recognizing a good thing when you see it is really important. And I'm very much like that too, where I'm just repeating what other people have told me. And oh, be careful, because camp hype, blah, blah, blah,
Mm-hmm.
And but I don't think there's anything. I think it's important to recognize that something good did happen. And yeah, it was an emotional thing for sure.
It really
but like,
was.
why is that bad? You know, like.
No, I think that's good, and I think it's good to lean into that feeling.
Yeah,
you
because
know?
like people are like, "Oh, you had an emotional reaction to Jesus?" Like,
Yeah.
yes, actually. Did
By
you?
golly,
I sure did.
It's like,
What?
oh, I don't know if you can trust your emotions. Like,
No, Jesus is the one that gave us our emotions.
can we talk about that a little bit?
Let me sit you down and tell you how you're wrong.
Yeah, but the stupid thing is like I was one of those people who was like, oh yeah, like be careful with your emotions and all that kind of stuff, because like that's kind of what we've been told.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I picked up anyway, and
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks for sharing about camp this year.
Are we done now? You just done?
No.
No.
I'm just glad that you had a good week.
Yeah. Wanted to talk about. I know you had mentioned to me that there was a. Well, you mentioned to us too, like that there was a night that. Wasn't it one specific night?
There's 2 nights.
2 nights that everyone just kind of in your church group.
Yeah.
You just kind of opened up, poured out. Like, can you tell us what that was like?
It was really weird because one minute we were all goofing off in the middle of the sermon, and then the next, because can I say the name of the pastor who was there, or should I not?
Do you know his name? Cause, yeah. Okay. If
His
you know
name was Micah McDonald, and he was so good at getting into the youth mind. Like, he always had a story for something. And at the beginning, he would tell us a story from his life. And it always applied. And he would tell you the story in the last second. You would think, oh my gosh, I know where you're going with it. And yeah, that's where he was going with it. But he was able to open your mind to something that, like, you knew about. But he delved so much deeper into that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember what the actual message was on Wednesday night, which is whenever all of this started. But we would just be sitting there laughing at what he just said, and then all of a sudden he would hit us with some truth bomb. And normally truth bombs from a pastor are not the best. You're like cringing the entire time. But this one, it actually felt like a truth bomb. I don't remember what it is. I know it's in my brain, but I can't remember what it is. And
that he said, you mean?
That he said.
Okay.
But I just remember walking down there every night, 5 minutes before he would say anything, and think, oh, I should walk down there to the altar. But I don't really need to. And then he would say something that applied to my life so much, and the Holy Spirit was like, yeah, you're going down there, and just kind of pushed me along. Like, multiple times I would stand up and look around and think, this is not where I should be. I should not be standing up, presenting myself in this open area to all of my friends who can see me standing, walking to the altar, already sobbing my eyes out. But the Holy Spirit said, no, you need this. Go cry. It's good for you. So I would go, like, one time I was actually face down on the carpet, just shaking and crying, and it was disgusting because the snot and all that of the display.
Yeah, I hope they clean that carpet really well every week after camp.
They have quite a bit of fun with that. Then all the youth group will come down, and if you're already not at the altar, then the rest of the youth group will come and pray for you. And I was never the one that had to go pray for somebody because I was always bawling my eyes out. Then at the end of the sermon, we would get together with our youth group, and we would sit in the corner, and people would say what they learned. And from past years, it's just, I really liked how he made this metaphor, and blah, 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 other gooey, gushy stuff. But this year, one of the girls stood up on Wednesday night, and she said, this pastor talks about things that I've never heard him talk about before. He talked so much about pornography, which is never spoken about in any situation at church. They will touch upon it and say, no, that's not good. You should get help from that. But they don't offer any help. Mm-hmm. And she said, a lot of us deal with that addiction. And she just shared her story and how this past year for her was really hard. And she said, guys, we are a family. We have to act like one. And we have to be there for each other. And one by one, people would stand up and tell stories of how the past few years have sucked, how their entire lives sucked, how they got drug into alcohol addictions just to, like, dull the pain for even a little bit. But then there was a few kids talked about abuse from relatives or other people close to them. At least one kid shared about drug abuse, which, again, all of this is talked about, but it wasn't real, it felt like, to any other pastor that would share a sermon at youth camp. But Micah McDonald actually made it real and made us feel safe to go to each other and to our pastors in our youth group and say, we're hurting, we don't know how to fix this, and we need help. Because there's a lot of kids who said that they would not have made it another week if they didn't go to this camp. And that's just unheard of. I've never seen a whole bunch of kids stand up and say how badly they're hurting and actually, like, blame somebody. It's always just their fault. But they knew why they were hurting and they wanted to make it better. I'm rambling and I don't know where I'm going with this.
And just to be clear, these kids that said they don't think they would have made it another week, they were talking about having suicidal thoughts.
Suicidal thoughts, yes.
And these are all teenagers your age.
Teenagers my age, yeah.
Yeah. So what do you think it was about the pastor that made him able to create that environment that you guys felt safe talking about that? Did he relate it back to himself? Like, did he have, was he able to share, like, his own stuff and make it real for his life so that you could see somebody else that's been through it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He didn't talk about pornography in his own life, but he talked about, like, his parents not having the best relationship. Mm. And how his parents eventually separated. And how much pain he was in there. And then how much pain his sisters were in. And, like, the physical pain that one of his sisters had to go through with cancer and all that. Mm. It was
tough stuff.
Terrifying.
Yeah.
But then, every time, he would be like, guys, you don't even understand. This miraculous God that we serve, he would come to me or one of my family members in such an awesome way. Like, he shared a story of his little sister actually seeing Jesus. And I was thinking, man, no adult would actually believe this. No reasonable human would believe that this little girl saw Jesus. He made it... I believed him, was the thing. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't want to be a naive person, but I know that it actually happened. Because he was crying. And it's not actor tears. It's real tears.
Mm-hmm. And so that was Wednesday night?
Wednesday night was the first night, and we had to stop at midnight, because that's when all the other youth groups came back. They had left at 11 after the sermon, and they would go and eat ice cream, and then come back for the whooper, which is the alarm to come back to chapel so we can dismiss for the night. But... And
also, to be clear, this is after midnight?
Yeah.
Because that's new since I was at camp, too. I think we were all in bed at 10.
Mm-hmm. No. At 10, we're halfway through our sermon.
I would not have gone if we had to stay up that late.
Uh-huh.
I have always, my whole life, pooped out around 8:30. So by 10 o'clock, I am straight up useless. So that's interesting to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, me too.
Yeah, that's why we have ice cream.
That wouldn't have done it for me. You know, as much as I love ice cream.
You don't know how good that ice cream is.
Clearly. I mean, I do remember there being ice cream back in the day, but maybe it's gotten better.
About it.
It would have had to have a lot of coffee in it in order to...
There was also a coffee bar.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Interesting. Okay. Well, I mean, back to your story there. Are you talking about Thursday now?
Thursday. Okay, yeah. Thursday night was another... And, you know, Holy Spirit night is Thursday night. Whenever you want to get the Holy Spirit to drown you in its love and that sort of stuff.
You know what happens on Thursdays?
I
totally know what you mean.
We have booked the Holy Spirit for this night.
Yeah.
Yes.
One-time appearance.
Yeah.
Get your tickets now.
Yeah.
But, again, Micah McDonald came through and he had the best stories. He was talking about how he went to his youth pastor and said... I want to feel the Holy Spirit, and I want to be part of a community, that sort of thing. And then he started speaking in tongues, which is not...
We all have different opinions on that.
We all have different opinions.
We're all of different theologies. And
different theology, yeah.
Fine. Uh-huh.
Grace abounds.
Grace abounds,
Yeah.
yes.
Love.
Yes. Anyway, but Micah started speaking in tongues after that, and he said, not everybody's going to speak in tongues, and that's absolutely okay, because God's going to use you in so many different ways than just speaking in tongues.
Oh, I'm glad he said that, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
because I'm the kind of person who was raised in a Baptist community.
We just don't do that.
And just we don't do that. We don't dance and we don't speak in tongues.
Right.
That's okay.
Or drink beer.
Right. Good one.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Except on podcasts.
But then Micah had other stories of just randomly starting to speak in tongues. And finally he realized one day, this can just be my thing. Whenever I'm alone with God, I'll just ask him to let me speak in tongues. And then it's a good way for me to, if I'm going to be missionary, then I can have experience talking in a different language or something.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's how he always prays now. He just lets God fill him with the words, and there's a different language. It's great. And as he's doing this, he's like, I'm going to pray now, and just, we're going to see what happens. And he started speaking in tongues, randomly. You know, I'm in a Baptist community. I grew up that way. I think, no, this is fake. You studied all of it. But, again, it was just so real. It might have been that camp hype or whatever crap it is, but it was just so real. And at the end, he gave us, he said, does anybody want to be missionary? And some people raised their hands. He said, does anybody feel called into ministry? Some people raised their hands. And then he said, okay, people in missions, you pray. Just pray to God, ask him to lead you. People who are called into ministry, go pray for the people in missions. And then people who are not called to anything specific right now, that's great. I need you to go pray for the people called in missions. And because they could be leading your church someday. They could be teaching your kids.
You mean ministries? Then?
Ministry. Yeah,
okay.
wait a minute.
Uh-huh.
But that's another thing. I've never heard anybody say it's okay to not be called into ministry. Because that's kind of...
Because what they mean really by that is professional ministry. Everybody's in some
that's
kind of
what
ministry.
I meant.
Yeah.
But that's what he said. Everybody's called to do something from God and for God.
Yeah.
But it's not always in the church. You can be like Bob the Builder, but for Jesus.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And that just... Because I felt called, or feel called, to be an author. And nobody's ever said, all right, if you feel called to be an author, raise your hand. All right, everybody pray for them.
Yeah. Get ignored a little bit, do you?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I mean, that's your ministry if that's what you're called to.
Yeah.
You know? And that's cool. But, yeah, they don't necessarily highlight that.
They don't highlight
these
that.
kinds of things. So, and that's fine. You know, nobody ever said, hey, do you feel called to be a mom? Well, come up here and we'll pray for you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's...
Yeah.
It's just not what they do. It's fine.
That's because the women have to be submissive and they can't...
Oh, you think you get that at camp?
No, that's just the Baptist sort of thing.
Oh, well, yeah.
Or, what's it? I can't name names, but curriculum that we used.
Oh, yes. That's true. Yes.
I've just seen it a lot of places.
Yeah.
But anyway, Thursday night was really good. And we had a lot of people called into ministry. And a lot of people saying... This is the best place ever because I've never felt more connected to Christians or humans before. I feel like I can actually be safe, which is awesome. Because, again, a few of these people were really, really hurting and they didn't feel safe enough in church. We see them every Sunday and Wednesday and they didn't feel safe. And now they feel something... Or they felt something close to safe.
So do you think that will continue? If somebody has a continuing struggle, will they feel like now there is a connection established with other people at church that they can continue to receive
I hope so.
help? Or I hope so too. Have you seen that before, after camp? Ever?
No.
Yeah, so how are you feeling a week out from camp?
Sad. Sad that it had to end.
Yeah.
Sad that we're back in this place full of distractions.
Regular life.
Regular life and regular boring life. But again, the Bible plan that we're doing with the youth group really helps.
Yeah, are you feeling encouraged though?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff personally
Yeah.
that has gotten in the way
Your
of
mother?
feeling encouraged.
No, I'm just kidding.
Stuff that has been brought up
Should I
after
leave?
camp.
We'll work it out.
You know what I'm talking about, though.
Yeah, I know a little bit. Yeah, so just mostly feeling sad, but happy that it happened.
Yeah. More happy that it happened than anything.
Mm-hmm.
And more, like, on Thursday night, one of the best things ever was that I could finally bounce. And that feels so stupid. But, like, for 2 years now, there was a weight on my shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
And on the entire week at camp, it was just slowly being chipped away. And on Thursday night, I could bounce with my friends. Because they're all bouncy little people. And I've always been stuck to the ground. I don't let myself bounce. I don't let myself be happy. But that's not how a Christian should be. Because we have God. And God is the best, most happy thing. That sounds really stupid. I just don't know how to describe it.
Mm-hmm.
Just finally I can feel happy.
It doesn't sound stupid.
No,
I feel like I said
think
it stupidly.
everybody here gets it.
I don't know.
We get it.
It just sounded cheesy.
Mm-hmm. I relate.
Covered in cheese.
Covered in cheese.
But yeah, I was able to bounce. And all of my friends were really happy for me. Which was one of the best parts. Like, finally being happy with other people.
That's awesome.
It was.
Are you still experiencing that? You still experiencing that freedom with the people that you're around now?
Sometimes, yeah.
That's awesome. Baby steps.
Baby steps, yeah.
Yeah, and just knowing that it can happen. You know, you don't have to live in that place because that's not realistic either. You know?
No, it's not realistic.
But
I would like to learn from it.
yeah.
And grow from it.
Yeah.
As well.
Chase that feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
That's really cool. That's
Yeah.
encouraging. Thank you.
yeah. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Well, you have 1 year left of being able to go to camp, right?
Yeah.
You'll be a senior next year, so after you graduate, you get one more trip around the campgrounds.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, maybe we'll have to have you back.
That's crazy you're that old, by the way.
Yeah, it's...
I know. Yeah. I don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
It's gross.
It is it's so weird.
This is not supposed to happen.
Uh-huh.
Not this fast, anyway.
I just started having fun. What is this?
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing, too. I was thinking about this when I sent her off to camp. Like, there's nothing like this for adults.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we want to have fun, too. You know?
I know.
Why do we not get to ship ourselves off for a week and play volleyball with giant beach balls and get divided up into teams and
No
eat ice
purpling.
cream at midnight? And no purpling, right? That's a different kind of camp. That's Sandals, Jamaica.
All inclusive.
All-inclusive resort.
Babe, you want to go to Sandals? Show? No, thanks. Okay.
Exactly. So I don't know. That's kind of a shame. I guess there probably are things that exist like that, but they're just not not in my circles.
Hot, hot, hot.
Feeling hot, hot, hot. Oh yeah. Now we all need to have just one tiny strand
Yes.
of beads.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have enough hair for that.
You have
Yeah,
more
I
hair
have
than
more hair
Michael.
than Michael.
Yes, you're fine.
So, Ruthie, I have a question for you.
No.
Okay.
Good night, everybody.
What do you want?
What do you want?
Hey, Marge is asking
Yeah,
the questions.
I'm
here.
asking the questions
All right.
here. Okay.
I'm the one that has the answer.
The KGB will ask the questions.
Anyway.
It's true.
Anyway,
It
my
is.
question for you, young author, is
No.
which is more important, character or plot?
I would say character, because once you get to know your character, they're going to make up the plot for you, basically. And if you know your character well enough, you know what motivates them, And then if you know what motivates them, you can take that away from them. And then you can just build from there. Does that make sense?
That's deep.
Well,
Dang it.
my mother seems to not agree.
I was literally thinking the exact opposite.
Yeah,
I thought plot was more important because, I mean, then it's just happening to whoever you put in the story.
I just
Right.
like
Yeah.
the characters more than I like the plot, so
uh-huh.
I
I think
Yeah.
that question is really interesting too because I'm very plot driven,
Mhm.
and I think you could probably argue it either way.
Yeah, clearly. Yeah. Absolutely.
But that's cool. Like, do you have any other thoughts on it?
No.
Alright,
She answered well.
Yeah, she did.
somehow.
Solved that problem.
All right.
Yeah. I do have a question for you, Ruthie. This is something that
I did get my
I wondered.
homework done, don't worry.
you better have. But that's not the question.
Oh.
You did homework in summer?
No, I'm kidding.
Oh, okay.
I'm not one of those losers.
Yeah, child abuse right there.
I know, right?
What song, baby, will you have playing at your wedding?
Oh my glory.
What song?
First of all, how dare you assume I'm getting married?
What song will you and I dance to at your wedding?
Oh,
Mhm.
I never planned that. I
Mother-daughter dance.
I planned what Amber and I are going
This
to dance to.
is why I asked.
Oh!
No,
It's a cousin thing.
I understand that. And that's why I'm asking this question because I want you to
Shots
be
fired.
preparing for this. 'Cause
Probably.
I want to do it.
Okay, hold on. Let me look at my playlist.
Make it happen. I can't believe you don't have like an answer ready to go.
Well, the obvious answer of The Best Day by Tay Tay.
Oh, that's a good one.
Or Never Grow Up by Tay Tay.
Yeah. Okay.
Just songs that, like,
Okay.
as a mother, I know you relate to.
I do like that best day one. Uh-huh.
I had the best day to you,
With you.
today, with you. I don't
I
care about the
corrected you on your own
preposition.
song.
Today.
I was also thinking about The Luckiest by Ben Folds because that was my song to you when you were little.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
It's not on your playlist, but it should be.
Mm.
So put it on there.
Because it meant something to you.
Yeah. Because that's how I felt when she was little. I was the luckiest.
Mm.
As
Look at that
you-
little face.
Yeah,
Yeah.
as you should be.
I know it's not about, like, a parent to their kid, but it worked.
It's the beauty of art.
Yeah. It captured my feelings, as art does.
Mm-hmm.
By Ben Folds.
Yeah.
There's so
Have you not heard that song?
Oh, yes, she is.
Well, I've heard it, but I forget things so easily. It's
Oh.
not even funny.
So, Marge, what camp stories do you have for us?
Yeah, mine is I related a lot to Ruthie's, and in that, Thursday night was like the huge night, and
Yeah.
that happened. I went through freshman to senior year of high school, and
Where was this that you went?
super summer.
Oh, okay.
Where is that? What location on
It's
the map?
at several different places, but the one I always went to was in Hannibal,
Okay.
Missouri, and it was at a college campus, Hannibal LaGrange.
Is there a particular year that stands out to
Well,
you
yeah,
out of
senior
those?
year, yeah.
Senior year? Okay. So
Yeah.
describe that.
So, senior year was when I was starting to go through a lot of stuff, which I mentioned in the previous podcast. And so, summertime, emotions are high. Everyone else is like, their emotions are high. And then, I don't remember, it was like earlier in the week too. And that, like the chaperones that were with us, there were quite a few of them because there were quite a few of us. And I was very, like, that was one of the first times that I was, like, really experiencing anxiety and didn't know what was going on, and my mom wasn't there, no way of, like, contacting her, and it's just, like, I didn't know what was going on, and while I was listening to your story as well, I was thinking, like, geez, like, the adults kind of don't know what's going on either.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they're trying to do the best with what they got, and they're just like, I don't know, like, is this the Holy Spirit? Is this Satan? Is this, like, what's going on?
Is it all in my head?
Yeah, so one of the nights was really, really hard for me, and, like, my friend asked me, hey, are you okay? And I, like, just nodded, and I was, like, crying, and I was like, dang it. And everyone else seemed to be somewhat okay. It was very somber tone, They were preaching the gospel, they were preaching that kind of thing, but it was like, I didn't know what was going on, if it was conviction or what, and just like you said, like, I can't remember what they said. I just remember feeling like, whoa,
Yeah.
this is a lot, not knowing what to do with it. And then my friend who asked me if I was okay, we walk out of the sanctuary, whatever it is, get to the foyer, and we're like gonna go out, and she just grabbed me and hugged me. And I, started weeping. And then her mom came and took me, basically like tried to mentor me like the rest of the week. It's kind of like, that was also tricky and hard because I think it, Thursday night or whatever night it was that everyone had their breakdown. I wasn't part of the group because I was like a mess, and I felt like so much more of a mess than they were. And I had been going through it all week, and they were just now there.
Yeah.
And they were sharing all kinds of stuff. Like, I heard about it a ton afterwards of like, oh my gosh, like, everyone opened up and everyone's crying and everyone's doing all this. I'm like, oh my gosh, what happened? And I'm like in the foyer with like my pastor and the mentor, and like they're trying to, pray with me and calm me down and all this stuff. And they don't quite know the situation of what's going on, and I don't know how to tell them because I'm like so ashamed. And so it's a lot. Anyway, I kind of felt isolated from the group because of that, because they shared that together. And I felt like I was more of a problem or something. Like, my problem was a special problem that had to be dealt with separately, which isn't true, but it's kind of how I felt.
It's kind of what happened.
It is what happened, yeah. And I remember, like, I don't have a brother, but I basically have a brother who was there, and he was the closest thing I had to family there. I don't have a biological brother, but I grew up with him, and we're basically brother and sister. So, like, I didn't know what to do with all the emotion. I didn't run. I went to him and, like, hugged him. I was, like, crying because I had no idea what was going on, and he was just, like, there for me, and, like, oh my gosh, you okay? Because, like, I knew he actually cared, and literally, like, pried away from him by someone. Like, you guys don't need to be touching.
Oh, gosh.
So, anyway, and it was just very confusing because everyone would go back to their dorms and stuff, and then me and, an adult would, like, go off to the side, and, like, they would talk to me for, like, an hour or so, and just, like, that kind of thing. So, yeah, it just added so much more to the feeling of, like, you're a special case and you need to be dealt with differently. And and I know that's not what they meant.
Right.
But it doesn't change the fact that that's what
happened.
That's what happened. That's what I felt, and that's what I thought. That's what I gathered from that.
Yep.
So yeah, it was like good, but it was also, it's not like an ideal situation.
Yeah.
But you learn a lot from those things, because you don't really learn if you never have any emotional reaction to trial, which I hate because I hate emotions, but apparently you need them. So
I don't understand.
Yeah, me.
Why?
But yeah, like, other than that, like, camp was pretty normal for me. I had some, like, funny prank moments and stuff where, like, we drew on my friend's arms while she was asleep, and she woke up with, it was like from a Doctor Who episode, like, they take tally marks for every time they see this monster, because every time they see the monster they forget. So we, like, thought it'd be funny to draw over her.
Yeah.
And we drew on her face too.
Oh no.
With Sharpie.
Oh no.
She was so pissed.
Yeah, that would be a little upsetting.
But she got it all off that morning somehow.
Oh, probably lots of scrubbing.
Yeah.
At least you didn't draw penises all over her face.
I wish I had a good office quote, but I can't.
It's like the
remember it.
watermark. They have to, like, go apologize for everything.
Horrible, obscene things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, doing unspeakable acts to a duck.
Yeah, that's basically it.
That's,
It's not super exciting, but
Yeah.
yeah. What about you, Lisa?
About camp in a nutshell.
This is gonna take a whole different turn once we start with her story.
A slightly different turn.
It's okay.
I mean, I went to camp every year that I was between 9. No, not every year. I might have missed 1 or 2, but mostly between the ages of 9 and 16. I went every year, and sometimes that was to Turkey Hill Ranch Bible Camp. It is awesome,
Mm-hmm.
and it's in Vienna, Missouri, so a decent distance away. I went there when I was 9 and 10. When I was 10, actually, my sister and I invited our friend Tim Harman to come with us. So he had to stay in the boys' dorm. But every chance we got, we would find each other and do stuff together, like during free time and whatnot. We were pretty cute.
Aww.
Yeah. So that was a fun year.
Mm-hmm.
But then some years, because we were going to the Assembly of God Church, we went to AG camp. And that was fun. You know, it's similar to what you were talking about, just with longer shorts, I'm sure. We had to have shorts that came down to the knees as girls.
Nope.
That was hard to find. Yeah, we had to stay covered up while we swam, too.
Who makes shorts like that, even? I don't even see those.
They can be found.
Really?
They make them for boys. You just wear boy shorts.
Mm-hmm.
It's humiliating.
Uh-huh.
But, you know, can't be a temptation. God forbid.
No. Your shoulders are the most attractive part of your
Nothing
body.
says sexy like a good old kneecap.
Right?
Yeah.
Woo!
Those ankles. Oh my gosh.
Woo!
So hot. But the year that stands out the most when I think of camp was the year that my sister and I went to Super Summer. It was the year I was 14, so it was 1996.
Good year.
Yeah, gosh, just think, I might have been at Super Summer like while you were being born.
Yeah, July 28th.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That's totally possible. So, we didn't go to the Baptist church, but I had a friend that went there, and she was going to this camp, and her mom found out that we weren't going to otherwise go to camp that year. We weren't scheduled to go to Turkey Hill or AG camp, so she paid for us to go to Super Summer with her daughter and all of the friends of hers from First Baptist that we did not know. I'm sorry. I did know one of these kids. He was the son of my piano teacher, and he was hot. He was the one that all the girls wanted the attention of. Like, I'm not even kidding.
Mm-hmm.
He was like the standout of the whole busload of kids, you know? And
Wait, hold on. I can cut this too. But
Uh-huh.
in 1996, that's when you started learning websites too?
yeah, it was the year we got the internet.
You're such a dork.
You have no idea. Yes.
That's awesome.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Huge door.
I feel like we would have been great friends at that age.
I know.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think about that. Like, dang it.
Yeah.
My age has just been a real hindrance to friendships over the year.
No, that's
You know.
okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
now it's good, but I mean, we just
I
wasted so
know.
much time.
I know.
So much time.
Time is such a construct.
It is. It's stupid.
It is.
So, anyway, yeah, we're not letting that hold us back now. So we went to Super Summer, and the bus ride down was awkward because I kind of thought I was going to be hanging out with my friend, but she had this whole other group of friends, and I instantly ignored me and my sister.
Oh.
So Laura and I at least had each other. Meanwhile, this hot kid was like paying attention to me and trying to talk to me and stuff, and it was really making me uncomfortable because while I was attracted to him, he had that great 1996 guy hair that was like
Uh-huh.
parted down the middle, but then it did this great little like
Mm-hmm.
curtainy thing on both sides of his face, and he could run his hands through it and it would flop and just part perfectly, and I couldn't not look at it. But I didn't want him to talk to me because, like, still to this day, when a hot guy talks to me, there's like these alarm bells going off in my head the whole time where I'm like screaming in my brain, you should not be talking to me. You know, like, this should not be, this is a mistake for both of us that you are talking to me right now. Like, clearly you can't see who you're talking to. Like, there's there's no reason that you should be talking to me. Like, the whole day. So it's really hard for me to think through that, you know? So that, like, that's what was going on the whole time when he tried to talk. And, so the bus ride down was just mostly that, being ignored by my friend and getting attention that I didn't want from this other guy. And then we got there, and I think, where is Worlds of Fun located?
I've not heard of that.
It's a amusement park.
I'm gonna look it up.
I feel like it was in Kansas City. We either went to Kansas City or Springfield that year. It's wherever Worlds of Fun was. Because at the end of the week, they took us there.
Kansas City.
Kansas City? Okay. So that's where we were. We're at some college in Kansas City. And so we got there, and like Laura and I were completely disoriented because we'd never been any place like this before. We were homeschooled, didn't get out much, you know, pretty sheltered, way out of our comfort zone. And of course, you get sorted up into houses, right? First thing. It is very similar to Hogwarts. They sort you into different, and it doesn't really have anything to do with what church you're in or whatever. They just randomize it. So the first thing that happened was Laura got put in a different house than me. And my friend did. So
I can feel your panic.
Right? It was panic at this point. The hot kid got put in my group. And I was like, of all people, why? So anyway, I remember being sorted. We had our first little, like, family meeting out in, like, this quad area. They call them, your little groups that they sort you into are called families. And you had a mom and a dad chaperone, right? And I knew all this, so I knew kind of what to expect. But we're sitting there as a group waiting for a chaperone, mom and dad people to show up. And they were late. Like, we could see other groups meeting, and they had their chaperones. And we're just kind of sitting there twiddling our thumbs. And finally, they show up, and this guy, he's like early 20s, he starts talking to us, and the first thing he says is, look, I'm just going to say right now, this is my 4th week of doing this. I am tired. I am crabby. I want to go home. So let's just get this over with. And we were like, okay. He's like, what are your guys' prayer requests? And the girl introduced herself too as like our mom or whatever. And she tried to like calm him down a little bit. She's like, yeah, you know, it's just been a long month. You know, we're happy to meet you guys. We are going to have fun. But yeah, we need to know like what you guys need us to pray for or whatever. And nobody talked.
I wonder why.
Right? I know. We're all sitting there just kind of stunned, like, okay, how do we get a new chaperone, you know? So it was pretty quiet for a while, and then this guy, he's like, are you guys going to talk? I'm like, I need somebody to say something. And so, again, we're quiet for a while, and by now we're, like, looking around, and finally, the hot kid comes up with something, and he throws out something he's got going on in his life that we can pray for. And the chaperone guy is like, okay, great, somebody else, you know? And like getting visibly impatient. So a couple of other kids come up with something, and we're like, okay, and then we disband and we go back to our rooms or whatever. And I just remember thinking, why did I come here? What am I doing? Like, this was the big camp experience that I was supposed to have? Like, this sucks. So we met back up at our rooms, and my sister told me about her group, and it sounded way better than mine, and I wanted to switch, and, you know, can't do that. So, anyway, you know, the first day kind of passes, and then the next day, it's more of the same. I mean, he met us for our group and was just, like, super agitated the whole time. And, like, we were supposed to do these games and stuff, and he's, like, barking at us. We're out in this big yard thing, you know, and again, there's a giant ball. A giant beach ball that we are trying to move from one end to the other. I don't remember what the whole point of it was, but I remember I stood there indignant. Like, A, this is a waste of time. B, it's hot. C, this guy is sucking whatever fun that we might have had right out of the air, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, this sucks. So I remember I was just standing there staring at this, not wanting to participate, and this hot kid comes flying up behind me and grabs me and spins me around in the air, like holding on to me, you know? And as I'm whipping through the air, I see these other girls that are like, oh man, oh, I want him to pick me up, you know? Oh, why doesn't he do that to me? And I was like, oh my gosh, put me down, you know? It's like, so uncomfortable with what was happening for a lot of reasons. Also, didn't hate it, you know? Very conflicted. Super conflicted in that moment.
As
But
your daughter, I feel a lot of emotions.
You get it, right?
No, I'm just ashamed.
Of me? What? Why?
I didn't hate it.
I
don't know.
I don't apologize.
I know.
So anyway, that derailed the rest of the day, basically.
Yeah, I bet.
I mean, girls would come up to me and be like, oh, you're so lucky, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no, I am not.
Mm.
Girl, you know, like,
Mm-hmm.
I did not consent, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But,
And you don't know him that well.
again, you know, it was a very confusing time.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I remember from the second day. And then the third day, I remember, like, all the meals were horrible. The food there was just bad. And, you know, I was already scrawny. So I was trying to eat what I could. But it was just like, between the anxiety and the heat and everything, I was having a hard time getting anything down, you know. But we show up for lunch and we eat in our little family groups. And
That stinks.
the only place for me to sit is directly across the chaperone guy. And it's at the end of a row of guys. And so I'm sitting there and I remember the chicken. It was like a chicken breast that we had to eat. And I'm trying to cut this thing and it is just so tough. I mean, it was barely edible food. And these boys next to me are talking about how in their room last night, they were farting into each other's mouths.
Nice.
And I literally was fighting the urge to puke onto my rubbery chicken.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, I'm staring at this thing, trying not to cry, thinking, what in the crap do I do? You know, and finally, I look up and I'm like, guys, I am trying to eat here. And my chaperone guy across the table puts his silverware down and goes, lighten up.
Oh, no.
And I was like,
Lisa, no.
the crap is happening.
Mm.
So I didn't eat for the rest of the day.
Mm.
And I didn't talk. I was just completely shut down.
I'm sorry.
I mean, I just sat there and moped into my chicken after that because I was so confused and just so hurt, you know. So I remember we finished dinner and I just threw the rest of or lunch. I threw the rest of it away, and we had a family meeting, like somewhat. I don't know if it was right after that or if there was another event, and then we had this family meeting. But we're all sitting there waiting for our chaperones to show up again. And this guy comes up behind me and sits next to me, puts his arm around me, and is like, I'm sorry, you know. And again, I'm like,
Wait,
A,
which
don't
guy?
touch me. The chaperone.
Okay.
Sorry, chaperone guy comes up and puts his arm around me and apologizes. But he does it, like, also defending himself. He's like, I haven't gotten any sleep, and you know I'm super tired, you know, totally justifying him barking at me. And I was like, yeah, whatever, you know, like, and I tried to wiggle out of his arms, and then he got offended at that too. And so, again, I'm sitting there going, what is this week? What in the crap is happening? And he wanted prayer requests again. And nobody was talking because he was making everyone uncomfortable, like, by now.
He's making me uncomfortable.
Yeah, right? And I remember the girl chaperone trying to make up for it again, you know, but it's like, that's a lot to overcome.
Mm-hmm.
So we're all sitting there in silence, and I know some other kids finally come up with something, and I the best I could think of was my grandpa was in the hospital because he had been diagnosed with like colitis or something. So I mentioned that, but I totally elaborated and said, we don't know if he's going to die, because I was just so desperate for this to get better. And I was like, maybe if they think my grandpa's dying while I'm here at camp, maybe things will go better for me. But it didn't. Really, nobody cared. We got paired up with people.
No one cared.
Well, we got paired up after that with another kid to go and pray, and this girl cared,
Oh.
And she wanted to pray for my grandpa and whatnot, and then I just felt guilty. He's not dying. I mean, my grandpa lived another,
39 years.
20 years after that. So, yeah, it's fine. But we,
That's actually
that was later that day.
It's great.
For our chapel later that day, we had, a couple of family groups all together, and we were having a talent show.
Okay.
It was like an improv talent show. There had been no preparation for this.
Those are the best ones.
So they were just having kids come up one at a time and share their talent. And I'm watching these nerds. The stuff that you can just do on the fly at camp with no preparation or whatever. And I was
Look,
like,
I have double jointed thumbs.
right?
Oh, what a cool
Wow.
I mean, it was literally stupid human tricks on the Letterman show was still a thing. So it was a lot of that going on. And I was like, I can do better than this. I had been taking piano lessons for several years, and I had some things memorized.
Plus, your grandpa was dying.
My grandpa was dying, and I was going to use that. I was going to pull from that energy.
Right.
What a gift.
But they had a keyboard up there, and some other kids had been using it for their stuff, and I was like, I will play Thy Word by Amy Grant
Wow.
that I have memorized. Right? I could play it, at home. I'd speed it up 3 times as fast and do it in different keys and all this stuff. So I was like, this one I've got. So I'm like, okay, this will redeem this week. This week is about to get so much better because I'm going to play this.
Why do I feel like this not
It's not going to go well.
Because you know how stories go.
And this is how I worked it up in my head. I'm like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to blow everyone away. They're all going to feel bad for how they treated me because I have skills, right? I'm going to be the star of this stupid talent show. So I get up there, and it is not an 88-key keyboard, which is what a typical piano is. So I'm looking at it in front of everybody on the stage, all by myself, standing there, and I cannot find middle C.
Oh, no.
Which I need in order to start this song.
You kind of need that.
Yeah.
And so I'm looking at it, and I instantly start to sweat because I'm just completely disoriented. And I hit one key, and that's not it. And I hit another one, and that's not it either. And now I'm just hitting random keys in front of everybody, and they're thinking this is my thing.
Oh, no.
And so I'm like, all right, you got to stop. You just got to pick one. Just pick one, and that's middle C.
Oh.
I picked the wrong one. And I start this song,
Oh, no.
and I get 2 measures in, and it becomes very clear that I am not in the right place on this keyboard. So I quit, and I stand there, and I look up, and it is silent in the sanctuary. And I'm like, okay, that's it.
Oh.
And I start running off this thing. Guess who stands up in the middle aisle and catches me as I run? The hot kid.
He catches you?
Uh-huh. In a big old hug. And I was like, please no. Please no. Please just let me die. Let me run out of this room to my death. So I just plunk down and wait for death to envelop me. And it never does. And so I don't even remember Thursday. I believe it there was the typical Thursday night service where everybody kind of has breakthroughs or whatnot, because I know that the chaperone guy apologized to the whole group at some point, and I think that was Thursday night. and the hot kid, you know, he like accepted the apology for all of us, you know.
That's nice of him.
It was nice of him. He was, I mean, like the leader of the group, and so, but I mean, I remember everybody basically just sitting there quiet. So
I'm annoyed at the hot kid too.
You what?
I'm annoyed at the hot kid too.
He tried.
He's
like,
just as annoying.
He was doing his best, you know, just like we all were. But anyway, the week was thankfully over. But it wasn't.
Oh.
Because we still had to ride home. I at least got reunited with my sister, you know, which I did see every night when we had slept in the dorms and she was in my room.
Okay.
But on the ride back, you know, we were just like so ready to be home.
Yeah.
But we stopped at Worlds of Fun. And at that point, you know, the girls kind of broke off from the guys. And I know that there were adults involved. I don't remember seeing them. But I remember being in a group of girls with my sister and my friend that was technically there with, and some of her friends. And riding some rides and hearing things from these girls that I had heretofore not been exposed to. I had a whole host of words that I had to go home and look up. Because I didn't want to ask them. I knew it had to be something inappropriate by the way they were giggling and making gestures and whatnot. But, like, my sister and I'm sure our eyes were just, like, bugging out of our heads the whole time. Because they're talking about stuff and whatnot that we just we're not participating in this. We are just stunned, you know? So, it wasn't as much fun as a trip to Worlds of Fun might otherwise seem. Got an education. I definitely never wanted to go back to Super Summer after that. That was enough of Super Summer for me. I know I went to AG camp. Oh no, the year after that I went to Turkey Hill one last time. And unfortunately started my period like the day I got there. And then had to spend the whole week explaining why, or not explain, like avoiding the actual reason why I wasn't going swimming. Like, the huge reason I went was because they had a lake and they had a pool and they did all kinds of, you know, stuff involving the water, and then I have no way to get wet during this time, and also am completely incapacitated of talking about it.
Yeah.
I am just, at this point in my life, I am so horrified by all of that girl stuff that I just try to act like it's not happening, and I'm sure as crap not going to tell somebody that it's happening, you know? So to get out of it, I would go up to the nurse's office and say I had a headache, and they'd give me Tylenol, which I appreciated, and I'd go back and sit in my little room under the air conditioner while everybody went and had fun. To make up for it, I decided when they played soccer, when my group was up to play soccer, that I would put all of my heart into it. I would try to squeeze some fun out of this soccer. Well, it was 95 degrees. And we were coming up from playing, and I tried so hard. I really did. I didn't even actually play soccer, but I really tried.
But I think you would actually be good at soccer.
I really could have been good at soccer.
Yeah.
I could. Sometimes when I'm just
our
kicking.
Family.
Yeah. Right?
You guys are nimble.
I'm nimble.
You're
I
very
used
sprightly.
to be fast.
Yeah.
You know, at this point I was still fast. Well, not that day. But we were walking up from the soccer field to go to lunch, and some of the kids around me were like, what?
Just spoke to me.
Oh. Some of the kids, like, walking with me were like, oh my gosh, are you okay? And I was like, why? And they were like, you are so white right now.
Oh.
And I was like, am I?
Oh no.
And one of the chaperones or counselors or whatever kind of whisked me inside, sat me down in the cafeteria, and made me drink some water, and poured some of it on my head, because they said, like, my lips were purple, and, like, it was heat stroke. I mean, I had just tried too hard, and should have just settled down a little bit. So while that was happening, I was like, this is a stupid week at camp, too! Like, gosh dang it!
Oh.
I used to have so much fun at camp.
is so sad.
I think the next year after that we went to AG camp one last time, and it was meh, and then I was done with camp.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just leave it in the past.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, it's all right. Now it is redeemed through my baby's experiences at the camp. She's having a good time for the both of us. And wherever that counselor guy is from Super Summer, sometimes I pray for him. Hopefully that was the worst week of his life too, and it only got better from there.
Mm.
I sure hope he didn't go on to do another week of Super Summer. I sure hope that was his last one for the year at least.
Oh my.
Mm.
So, happy camp week, everybody.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's so sad.
Oh, it's okay. Lord beard me strength, right?
Yeah.
The Lord beard me strength.
That's the exact opposite of my week.
Yes, exactly. Yes, it was. In every way. We did not have ice cream at Super Summer.
Mm.
Oh.
Yeah, it was fine.
That makes me sick to think about that you had to go through that.
It was
Supposed to be
unfortunate.
fun.
And plus, my mom's friend spent so much money to send us, too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
So, there was that whole expectation, too. You've got to go
Yeah.
do this and be appreciative because
You
this
feel-
is a gift.
You feel pressured to have
Mm-hmm.
a good time, yeah. And have a good attitude about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it was legitimately bad.
Mm.
But that's okay, because here we are.
Here we are.
Yep.
You survived.
Yeah, it makes quality content for the podcast.
Definitely.
26 years later.
Mm.
Gross.
Yeah.
Lots
Now I know what
changed,
all
though.
those words mean, though.
I'm so happy for you.
Me too.
Would you like to tell us what the...
I can tell you what
No,
one
no.
was if you really want to know.
I don't.
I remember there were multiples, but I remember the one that I actually felt brave enough to ask my mom about,
Yeah.
if you want to know.
We're gonna need a.
Do you want to
explicit
tell the
rating.
people? Or do
You
want
can
to-
always cut this out. This is at the end. If you don't want to keep it, you can't. So we were on this, it was like a wooden roller coaster, or it shook like one.
Yeah.
And I was in a car with my sister and my friend, and it was, I think maybe it was one that kind of spun around as you're moving down the roller coaster too.
Gross.
So there was enough room for 6 people in this car. So it was my sister and me and my friend
Okay.
and some of her friends. And as we're vibrating down this track, right?
Mm-hmm.
My friend leans over and very loudly, because you have to yell over
Yeah.
the noise of this thing. She's
Right.
like, "I'm having an orgasm here." I was like, "I don't know what that means, but I am uncomfortable. I want off of this ride." They were all giggling and laughing. "Oh, me too! Ah!"
Oh my god.
And I was like, "I want to go home. I want to go home. Please let this day end." So that's when I got home.
Glory.
And I was like, "Mom, my friend said she had an orgasm. What does that mean?" And my mom's like, "Oh my gosh, don't worry about it. No.
She didn't give you an exclamation.
She didn't want, I may have pushed it, but I remember her trying to not answer that because it was just so out. I go to camp and this is the question I come back with, you know?
Yeah.
I don't blame her for not wanting to answer that question.
I like that. Were you concerned for her medical well-being?
Yes! I was like,
she was having a stroke or something.
right? Exactly.
Yeah. You just care.
Has this happened to me?
Yeah.
Do I need to know about this?
Yeah.
You know, it's
Yeah.
legit concern.
Yeah.
And at some point I learned, whatever.
Yeah.
Someday I'll tell you, baby.
Oh, thanks.
Not right now.
I
No
know.
one's told me yet, so...
Okay, someday I'll tell you both.
Okay, great.
Yeah, we'll have to turn this off. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for coming all the way out.
I
Yeah.
know, it was really hard.
Mm-hmm.
And rearranging your schedule for us.
Oh, yeah. I have to go now. I have a meeting with an important client.
Okay. And I respect that.
Thank
I
you.
respect
We
your
sadly
time.
cannot compensate you for your time.
Yeah.
Only with sour gummy worms.
I'll take it. For now.
Deal. Want to shake on it? Alright.
Yeah, I'm glad that worked out.
Yeah.
So, yeah, next year.
time I will be needing the money.
Okay. Well, we'll have you back next year.
Yeah. So then the money I get from this can pay for camp.
Oh, well, I don't know about that.
Oh. You're going to have a lot of followers by then, though.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. We already do.
It's going to be rolling.
Constantly growing the
In
followers.
The thousands now.
Yes. I've been getting more, is that true? Are we in the thousands?
No.
Oh, okay. I am working on some merch, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. So everybody be looking out for that. Lord Beer Me Strength merch. Coming eventually.
Coming end of May Temper.
May Temper 32nd.
Yes. Thanks for joining us, Ruthie.
Well, thanks for having me.
Yeah.
I will be back.
Good. Looking forward to it.
Good.
And as always, what are we going to talk about next week?
We didn't decide. We are doing this 1 week at a time.
And
Right.
as
Let's
always,
talk about
we have
Hobbs
no idea
next
what
week.
we're doing.
Yeah. If anyone needs some money and wants to dog sit for like 2 hours once a week,
Yeah.
it'd be great.
Take him for a nice long walk. Wear this boy out.
Uh-huh. As always, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, you can email us at lordbeermestrengthpodcast@gmail.com or find us on our social media.
Mm-hmm. Shoot us a comment.
I will answer you. Lisa
Marge will answer. I will ignore you.
She will probably like the message or something.
Yeah. That's about the level of my interactions.
Yeah.
It is.
I'll
It gets
answer
too
you.
overwhelming otherwise to be adored. I can't take it too much at a time. I gotta pace myself.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.